there are certain parts that are quite closed off. There's a bit of an elitist area of the hacking community where they do put up a lot of barriers, where if you're not part of the clique, then you're not really welcome, I think with Gen Z, or I think for ITWeb now with the Gen AI, I think was the thing. I think there's a lot more information out there. Like you can actually find a lot of information on things that you want to learn a lot quicker than how I used to back in the day. Because there's a lot of pen testing tools out there now that can be used, and people are advertising it as like a way to replace pen tests and red teaming, which is not 100% accurate.
This episode of ITWeb TV is brought to you by ITWeb Security Summit, the must-attend gathering for IT, security, and business decision makers. For more information, visit itweb.coza.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of Real Geeks with Ivan Regasek. I'm Ivan Regasek, and today I'm joined by Dr Manuel Corregedor, the CEO of Telspace Africa, and a friend from the hackathons. Good morning, Manny.
Good morning.
Yeah, it's lovely to have you in studio. Thank you for coming by.
Hello, my name is Daniel Cuthbert, and I shall be speaking at ITWeb Security Summit in Johannesburg from the 4th to the 6th of June. And I'm going to be exploring how generative AI is either a massive disruptor or it could be something that's really cool for you and your job. Look forward to seeing you then.
But firstly, I maybe want to start with the now. You started, I see, in lecturing. Initially, I thought it was a part-time thing, but I also found that you're a doctor, that you actually, started your career in teaching. That's also interesting. At one point in my life, I was also wanting to get in there. And now being in the corporate career, firstly, how do you find it, and how is it different?
Yeah, so I mean, it's been a while since I've switched from the academic life to working in corporate or the industry. But back then it was quite, academic, so as a lecturer, you learn a lot of the theory, a lot of the stuff, the frameworks, a lot of the foundational stuff that you need, really. But there's always this disconnection between the theory and what happens in practice, because when you're dealing in academia, sometimes it's a lot of the ideal world, so this works this way, works that way, but in the industry and in the real world, things aren't always like they are in theory, so things are not exactly as they should be. People don't always follow the process. They don't always follow the procedure. It's different, right?
It's too academic and not practical.
Yes. So, there's always a disconnection between that, So when I was in academia, I always thought to myself, how is it actually done in practice? And that's why I saw a few gaps, But also, I guess as a lecturer, the stuff you teach and the stuff you're learning doesn't always go as quick as it does in the industry. So you don't have time when you sit in the industry to study stuff and take all the time you need to do the research, so it's almost a lot quicker, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's, so I find it quite, exciting, but a lot more fast-paced, let's say. Once you move from academia to industry, there's a lot more, and also a lot of the stuff that you do is a lot more impactful, and which is the reason why I moved really from academia into, because I always enjoyed teaching people and helping them learn stuff, because it's always great seeing someone come in and they've got this sort of blank slate and you're sort of shaping them, but I wasn't finding that the impact was as big as I wanted it to be. The difference I was making, so it's always been to me about making a difference.
Okay.
And I thought that the impact I could make in industry would be a lot bigger than in academia. But I've still got a foot in both. I haven't really left academia completely. I'm still involved there.
Yeah, that's very interesting, and a good way to approach it. You have to kind of grow up and do the harder things to actually make more of a difference. So where do you think it comes? It actually comes from your love for teaching and education.
I don't know. I guess it just happened. I guess as the oldest sibling in the family, you always got that role where you helping and teaching your siblings and your cousins and stuff like that. So, and also I guess from receiving it myself, from mentors over the years, the people that have taught me. So it's about passing on that light to the next generation, so I guess that's where it comes from. I guess it's something that's passionate, a lot of people that go into teaching, for example, I always say it's a noble profession, because you go into them because you really must love what you do. And that's really where it comes from, I'd say.
Yeah. No, I also find reward there when you help somebody in the past and they say thank you, it's hugely rewarding.
Yeah, even though they say thank you, just seeing them grow, like seeing where they started and where they are now, and that you had a role in that is to me like rewarding in itself.
Yeah, sure.
You don't always get to thank you.
Yeah,
but it's always good to see that you made that impact.
No, sure. It's also interesting you say, because it tends to be for people that have had role models, good role models. Nathan also had the same answer. It was from, he got the same kind of education from others and you kind of wanted to pass it on. Can you name a couple that have been for you?
Yeah, so I think if you're from a supportive community, it helps you to grow and being around the right people, I guess. So some of my role models, to be honest, it starts at home really. With my dad and my mom being such hardworking people,
Sure.
Come to South Africa, having nothing and building up everything, To me, that was they were my role models, my main role models. The hard work, just don't make excuses, man. I think a lot of times you can look at your life and be like, I can't do X, Y, Z because of this and because of that. But it was just make a plan, and just get stuff done is really so they were my main role models. When it comes to the hacking community, there's been several over the years, I'm not going to name any because a lot of them are still around and I still speak to them, and just leave someone off the list and then it's a problematic thing.
Sure.
But I just have to start with at home, with my parents and just how much hard work they put in to make stuff happen for the family.
Yeah. And were you born here or?
Yeah, so I was born here. Both my parents came from Madeira.
Yeah.
Which until a few years ago wasn't well known until Cristiano Ronaldo came to the scene. Everyone realized he came from Madeira, which is and he plays for Portugal. So there's a small island off the coast of Portugal, and that's where they were from.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
So they came and they moved here early on. So I was born here.
Okay, I thought we were also similar in that, but yeah, I was born in Serbia, but I grew up here.
Okay.
So you.
What age did you come?
10.
10. Okay. All right.
As a Portuguese, is it? How do you feel? Do you feel South African or Portuguese or?
This is both. I'm proud to be both.
Do you go visit?
I do once in a while. It's quite expensive to go there with the euro and rand and stuff. I've got family there, but I think because I was born in South Africa, I'm probably South African, and over the years there's been a lot of reason to leave, a lot of reason to immigrate, and I guess a lot of people get upset with me because I've got the European passport. And when they speak to me, they're like, yeah, but you've got it. Why are you still here?
Yeah, sure.
You can literally go anywhere in the world. I wish I had that opportunity. But to me, it's I was born here. And a lot of opportunities I got was from here. My education, my work, all that stuff happened in South Africa, And I think South Africa is a beautiful place, man. There's a lot of diversity here, a lot of things that you can do, that you can't do. The grass is not always green on the other side, like people like to think it is. So to answer your question, I guess I'm proud of both heritage, both of them. Just watch me one soccer game when Portugal's playing, you realize that I'm quite patriotic about Portugal. So it's,
South African, but proud in your roots.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like questioning.
Yeah.
In regards to, you're also a second generation CEO, taking over from the founder. Telspace has been going for 22 years, I think it's 2002. Yeah, what lessons how are you finding the job of, fitting in the shoes, and mostly actually what lessons and values are you trying to carry over and the biggest learnings that you've learned from Dino?
Yeah, so when Dino decided to let go of Telspace, I guess, in terms of operation, we're still involved because he's still the chairman of our board and stuff, and he still provides a lot of key insights and guidance from his perspective. But I think what the most he told me was about resilience, sticking it through. Because I think when he started off at Telspace many years ago, hacking and pen testing and stuff like that wasn't really a thing.
Yeah.
You're almost creating a new industry really back then. And there was a lot of pushback from people that were in the industry that were sort of discouraging him, telling him he couldn't do it, and a lot of negative things around him. But he just kept persisting. And he built this company from scratch, really.
Sure. In
his mom's and dad's living room table, actually. It's got a picture there he shared with me many years ago. That's where he started, just himself, and he put himself out there. He was, doing a lot of stuff, that because I think starting a company with like no funding, nothing in place, and just you as the brand. So I think a lot of the values they taught me, there was like hard work and determination, but also whatever you do, like you need to like sort of add value, to your clients and to the community, So Telspace is a very strong roots within the community and supporting the community. That's why we get involved in things like the hackathon. And I think that's how we met really, and we started working together, was because we were involved in the hackathon. But before that, Dean and I met because we were involved in hacker conferences locally in South Africa, where he was like a volunteer. I was like an organizer of one of these conferences, and that's how we met back in the day, like many, many years ago. So, I think that community aspect and that resilience, sticking it through and just sticking to what you know and what you do and doing it well, I think is something that I learned from him. And that I carry through Telspace, at Telspace, it's all about adding value. Even today, like every employee within Telspace, there has to be a community aspect in your performance evaluation. So just like your work is one aspect, and it's probably the biggest aspect, but a large portion is like, what have you done to the community? What have you done to give back to the community? And it doesn't have to be the hacker community. It could be any community of your choice. It could be within your church, whatever it is, as long as you're giving back and adding value back to the community.
Yeah, I would imagine the hacker community is quite exclusive. Obviously, we've discussed in the past that hacker is the badge that geeks give to the esteemed geeks. And I'm sure there's a bit of, in these expert communities, there's maybe competition, but also really unity and, what's the word? Appreciation of the other people. I don't know, respect for the other guys.
Yeah, I think so. It might be a bit controversial what I'll say now.
Sure.
That's there are certain parts that are quite closed off. There's a bit of an elitist area of the hacking community where they do put up a lot of barriers, where if you're not part of the clique, then you're not really welcome, I mean, like I used to go to a lot of hacking meetups before I had kids, because it happened at certain times where there's family time. But I used to hear people say comments like, oh, I guess anyone could be a pen tester now. I guess anyone could be a hacker now, which is stuff that, if you join the industry and you come to those meetups and you got someone that's really well known in that industry saying stuff like, oh, I guess anyone can be a hacker now. It's demotivating, So it's true that overall, I think the community is welcoming, but there's still certain like parts of the community where, they almost like don't support each other. They sort of like create rumors, badmouth people, and it's not good. Like it's almost like when people are coming into the industry, I actually meet with them and I tell them, someone says something negative, don't get discouraged. Stick it through, because, I'm not sure why they like that, but there's definitely gatekeepers. And in the local South African community I'm talking about, it's a bit of if you compare it to like other communities across like Europe and even the US, they're a lot more welcoming to like newcomers into the industry. Whereas I think here it's like, if you don't know someone, you're almost like left out there to, that's why like I get quite involved and I bring people into the community and I mentor them. There's unfortunately a lot of politics in the local community. I'll give you an example, right? So before...
It's a shame.
It is a shame for sure. Like before I joined Telspace, I had a lot of friends that used to work at other companies, and all of a sudden, because I'm in Telspace, I'm no longer the same Manny. Like I'm like the Manny from Telspace. Now there's like a lot of from certain parts where people are like, all of a sudden don't speak to Manny because he's at Telspace. It's silly stuff like that. It's not just Telspace, there's other companies as well where similar things are happening, which I think is unfortunate, because you can't really grow the community if everyone's not working together. I mean, sure, we're all competitors and we compete for work and projects and clients, and that's great. We need to do that. It's part of our, company stuff. When it comes to community, like, we should support each other, because if we learn from each other and we help each other, we just become stronger overall, which I think is an important thing to do. And that's what I try to push for, But unfortunately, there's just a certain crowd that just, they don't feel the same way, And it's, like you said, it's a shame.
Yeah.
But
it's also very common amongst geeks or experts and smart people in general. Sometimes they get nose up in the air and I'm the smartest.
Yeah, for sure. They like to throw around their titles and stuff like that, which is
Mr. Sheldon Cooper, or I don't know.
Mr. Sheldon Cooper. Which I think what I'd say though is, like, to those people, I think you need to remember that you're once that person that didn't know much. You weren't always a city person that knew a lot of stuff. You're once that person that's trying to like learn stuff, and someone helped you, and you should, don't be that arrogant person that's just not going to help someone else because you might think they're stupid or they don't know much. And I think on the other side of things, it's like when someone is in a certain position in their career, you shouldn't compare yourself to someone that's like up here, because then you got to think like, yeah, geez, I don't know anything. Like I'm an imposter, and it's sort of like demotivates you. You need to compare yourself to where you were like a few years ago or a few months ago. And you actually realize you actually learned a lot. You just don't realize that's how much you've learned compared to the person that you were a few months ago. I've got to compare myself to like Dino, even today. Like he's been in the hacking community for over 20 years. He started Telspace 22 years ago. Before that, he was already doing a lot of hacking stuff, He's on the DEF CON review board, for example. Like I could compare myself to Dino and be like, geez, man, like I don't know anything. I'm an imposter in this industry.
Yeah, no, sure.
So it's all about, I think, perspective when you come into the industry and who you compare yourself to is it can really demotivate you. So you mustn't do that.
Yeah.
You compare yourself to yourself and see how much you've grown over the years and continue to improve yourself. And don't let people push you off, man.
On your doctorate, it says also philosophy. Is that always that they say it like that? Or?
It does, yeah. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
Doctor of Philosophy.
Yeah.
It's a PhD.
Do you actually study philosophy, or is there an element to it?
No, that's just the title of
the education. Sure.
I did a lot of philosophy then in my honours year, which wasn't great.
Yeah. So why is it human nature to always keep up with the Joneses or the Kardashians? Or
I think people will be people. You compare yourself to others. And I think like I used to do that as well. Like I wanted to like be X, Y, Z. But like I just focused on improving myself and doing better for myself. Like, like set goals for yourself and you focus on yourself. Otherwise you're just competing against people that don't even like,
well, we have different lives and everything.
Exactly. Different circumstances and maybe different opportunities.
Sure.
So maybe they got there because they had different opportunities. Focus on yourself and improving yourself. That's what I always tell anyone coming into the industry, any junior person, like but it takes hard work.
Yeah.
Like, you might see like Manny said he's got his doctorate, but I didn't just get there by like taking shortcuts or, there was a lot of hard work that got there. You didn't get to where you are by taking shortcuts either. There's a lot of hard work that got you to where you are, so it's not, people don't realize that there's a lot of hard work involved. There's no work, a lot of people come into the industry and like grads, they'll be like, yeah, I need to work smart.
Do you think it's Gen Z's more so? Eh?
I wouldn't say
than in the past.
No, I think
because I also kind of feel that
I think it's happened before in the past as well. I don't think I think with Gen Z, or I think for ITWeb now with the Gen AI, I think was the thing. I think there's a lot more information out there. Like you can actually find a lot of information on things that you want to learn a lot quicker than how I used to back in the day. Like back in the day, if I wanted to learn something, you'd have to like meet up with someone that knew about it, and they would almost like give you the knowledge or give you the manual that they got from someone else, or you go to the library, for example. Nowadays it's like everything's available to you, but it's like almost too much information. Like where do you start? I think that's where mentors are quite useful. Because if you want to become like a pen tester, I can give you like guidance on how to get into that industry. Because if you just Google how to be a pen tester, you're going to get like so many courses and so many things you can do, but it's not always necessarily the right course to get you to where you need to be. So, and what you study and what you're going to do is not always the right thing.
Yeah. Maybe I was lucky with my parents have also instilled that hard work in me. That one also, mom is also quite big on it, not just my dad. So yeah, maybe I just never got it. I always kind of understood that, if you work, you need to work.
I think
that it's an important element of life. In fact, my mom will say that there's some Serbian poet is saying that the only two words should be written in a capital letter, and that's love and work.
Because it's true to some extent.
Sure. Yeah, the landscape must have been, I can only imagine for Dino, because my memory of that time, it was actually kind of difficult. Most people, I was younger, so I don't know in the corporates, but it's the impression I kind of had that most people, or the stage of the industry was, IT is now just a printer and the mail server. It's like another admin department. it's not, it's not really important, and now you need to come in and say, cybersecurity on top of it.
And it just wasn't a thing really.
Yeah.
It was quite a big, playground back then, for like the guys that were getting into hacking and stuff. But all the stuff, it just wasn't known. So people were just figuring stuff out as they went. And I know, like, you spoke about, like, what is a hacker? And, like, we spoke about hacking. And just the other day, I was doing a talk and someone said, like, you can't just go around saying that you're hackers for hire, because obviously I heard you say hackers for hire. That's a company slogan for many, many years. And someone said that, you can't just go advertising that you do these illegal things. So I said, like, but why the thing with the hackers is, like, hackers are, like, people just associated with being a criminal.
Yeah.
Which I always compare to, like, you don't say, like, there's an accountant and an ethical accountant. You just say there's an accountant, And whereas a hacker is, like, someone that does something creative, You find creative ways of doing things, creative ways of solving problems, creative ways of doing something. It doesn't necessarily have to be technology either. It could be anything, That's why you get, like, social engineering, which is, like, manipulating people and things like that. And, like, I think everyone's, like, got a hacker in them. Like, you find creative ways to do something, solve a problem, you're actually a hacker, So I think over the years, like, the hackers has become, like, a bit of a negative connotation. But those are criminals, people doing stuff illegally and stealing information. I think they get used interchangeably, If you're a criminal and you're stealing stuff, you're a criminal. If you're a hacker, you're a hacker.
I think, if you said cybersecurity professional, what's the right word?
It's ethical hacker is how they advertise and like we're looking for an ethical hacker, not just a hacker.
Okay.
But it's because the word hacker has a negative connotation to it.
No,
associated with being criminals.
Sure. No, I've heard that point of view with the ethical accountant. It's very interesting. I'm just kind of also wondering why that is. Maybe because hacker also means the criminal. So
I think it's because, like, people. I think it's just the mainstream media, how they've pushed it out over the years, Like, hackers compromise the company. Instead of criminals, because that's what they are, they're criminals. But I guess, look, but you can't change the way things have been, perceived over the years. That's why, like, people, when they recruit for ethical hackers, they recruit for ethical hackers as opposed to hackers. I want to see a company put up a job ad for, like, we're looking for hackers. They might get the wrong type of attention.
Yeah. Yeah, ethical policeman, I guess.
Oh, yes. We haven't got on that, on that part.
Yeah, sure. For me, it was that actually you don't need to cheat the system. I think that's the biggest lesson I learned from my dad. It was actually and it's maybe a good one. I don't know. That's maybe why I feel to say it in terms of it's called governance or politics. Because actually in the communist Yugoslavia where I was born, he was a big shot. Still an editor of computers. He was up on national TV. It's a much bigger thing than like a podcast now, but in like a communist country, and it was a big deal with all the people, and he was always like a big deal, and walking around, and to me, kind of, he was always the greatest guy, but we didn't have anything because he was bad at connections. We were always pushed down the queue, and so somebody did, and you need to speak to that guy to hook you up. Whereas it kind of didn't, but then coming to South Africa, and actually then it became something. It's also, most of my friends from high school or something, they're still like, the system is corrupt, you can't. I kind of feel the system is kind of set up in a good way, in a similar sense to in life how your first priority is you, but actually maybe the best strategy to hack it and be happy, life hack, is to be good to other people. It's kind of in the capitalist world, whereas communism seems very ethical, but it's very easily exploitable. capitalism is kind of set up in the same way that, you know, you're making profit for your own accord and that's your interest, but actually the best strategy is to add value to everybody else.
No, for sure. I think over the years you've seen that change as well. Even big corporates, they all have a lot of social responsibility, like areas within their business, you know, where they have to give back to the community and do certain initiatives, be it environment or helping people, which is...
Or adding value.
Adding value, yeah, for sure.
It's just like if your best strategy is to add value, and probably not to you, but to your clients.
That's for sure. But I've learned, I think, over the years that, you know, there's only so much time you have available and your priorities change over the years. You know, like I think when I was a lot younger, before I got married, I could spend all of my time in the community and helping out with hacker conferences and mentoring people and stuff like that. You know, I think, like I just want to touch on, I guess, the aspect is that, you know, you can't do everything for everyone, you know, but you can help and create people that can take over from you. And like, which is what Dino did with me and what I've done with other people that I mentor and help with as well. So it's always great to see, like, you know, once you've helped someone, that you see them help someone else and you sort of carry on that chain, you know. But I think, I know this might not be on the list for us to talk about, but I think mental health and actually people dealing with burnout is a very important thing to cover, I think, because it's, you know, important to balance that. But I think it's also important to not use that as a reason for not being able to achieve your goals as well. You know, because I found over the years, like a lot of people will come and they'll try get into the industry or try to achieve something, then they'll just quit and say, like, I can't because it's just too much for my mental health and that's affecting my stress levels, it's affecting my health, and then I just want to quit, you know. But you need to have to push yourself as well to not quit.
Yeah.
You know, I think like over the years, and I think your initial question about like how was it to take it over from Dino and stuff like that. And I guess like a few years ago, it just, as I took over, it was just before or right after when COVID hit, you know. So like a lot of uncertainty, a lot of things to deal with, and like you just got to be mentally fit to like push through that stuff, you know. And I think similar things with you as well, like when you took over as well, there's a lot of challenges I'm sure you had to deal with as well, and how things were changing from like print to like digital and online and stuff like that, you know. And I think it's important just to be able to find that balance, you know. And again, just that resilience to not give up. It's important to keep pushing.
Yeah, I don't think you can deal with actually leadership without dealing with psychology somewhat.
That's true. So I've got a couch in my office.
Yeah, that goes part and parcel with the people.
But everyone's different as well.
At least now the standard business theory is that people are important. I think the previous one was like processes, blah blah blah. But
well, look at our business.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at our business. People are the core, the most important part of Telspace is the people.
I'm sure.
You know, like we need those hackers, we need those analysts, we need people, even the projects team, sales team, everyone's important. Without people, like we just can't, wouldn't exist really.
Yeah.
As Telspace.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, well, that is the company.
Yeah, unless we replace everyone with AI bots, which I guess was a question that we got asked when, even though AI has been around for many, many years, with its recent like proliferation and like, you know, a lot more attention around AI. Like we always get asked, like, you know, can't we just like get, because there's a lot of pen testing tools out there now that can be used, and people advertise it as like a way to replace pen tests and red teaming, which is not 100% accurate, you know, because it definitely help, you know, with the testing we do and like to optimize how we do our testing, but you'll never be able to, at least not yet, replicate that hacker mindset, that creative way of like connecting the dots and taking this and that and, you know, doing something with it that no bot's going to be able to learn. Yes, at least.
Yeah. Well, we all wondered that fundamental question of the robot's going to replace us or eat us. What did they say here? The bots want to take your job, but someone that's using a bot probably will.
Yeah, I guess you do it effectively.
Yeah, it's great tools and technology, but yeah, similar space there. Gen AI is mostly, initially they said it replaces journalists and developers, so it seemed important to me. Right.
Well, yeah, I guess for you it's like you guys do a lot of content, like you write articles and stuff like that, press releases, which I guess they do say AI could do. But I've seen a lot of really badly written articles by AI, so I don't think that's the case either.
Yeah. It's, the way that I see it is it's the best tool. that has kind of come out. I don't think that content and content creation is ever going to go away, and the written word probably.
Yeah, but it's the creativity on your side as well. The creativity and that knowledge that you bring to the article. It really can't be. And every writer, it's like every analyst is different. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So
I'm not really, from my perspective, I'm not scared for the future of journalism and content creation. I think the world will always need it. Actually, even more so, it's becoming that everybody's becoming a content creator. So there's actually just a lot more.
That's true.
Of these things, and it's more important. In a similar sense, everybody's kind of getting into IT somewhat, becoming a dev, maybe a little bit of a hacker.
Yes.
I don't think that either of those things will ever go away.
No, definitely not.
As far as I can see. Okay, maybe the dark web. I'm intrigued by that. I do kind of know. A general thing I'm intrigued with you is I'm an application dev. I've heard you say you kind of started. It was hard to get it work. You got into hacking. From my perspective, hacking is the difficult part in cybersecurity. But I think it's two things. But one thing I like personally, the dark web. I'm intrigued, but I've actually never dared to go on.
Yeah, so look, I think before we jump into the dark web, we speak about like dev and stuff and how hacking is more difficult than doing dev, I think. And I guess I was originally studying to be a dev. Like software development was what I wanted to do and stuff like that. And I always say, like, if you know how to develop an application, you're a lot better suited to break that application and hack into it. So having an understanding of how you build applications is actually good foundational knowledge on how you should be able to break that application. Because you get like a lot of the great pen testers that I've seen over the years have been ones that have done dev before and they understand how the thing is built. Because if you understand something is built, it makes it a lot easier to try to break into it and hack it and stuff like that. So with regards to like the dark web, I guess we've got to define what the dark web is first. Because it's a bit of I guess it gets used interchangeably for different things. So I guess if you break it down, right, so if you go onto the internet using like your Chrome browser, Firefox, Edge, whatever browser you want to use, they're typically known as like the surface web. So the stuff you can find via Google, stuff like that, Yahoo, Bing, whatever you use, DuckDuckGo. That's like your surface web type stuff. The deep web is like something that's maybe behind like inside a website, a database, something like that. There'll be like the deep web. The dark web is something completely different. You need a specific type of technology to get onto the dark web.
Sure.
So you might be able to like access like dark web addresses using like your normal browser and your internet connection. You need something like Tor or I2P or something that's going to get you to use a different protocol to get onto the dark web. So the most conventional way people get onto the dark web is using Tor, or the Tor browser. And Tor was created not for that purpose, right? So Tor was created for like anonymity and for like journalists that are in countries where they don't have freedom of speech and they need to like communicate and they don't want to be, caught because it could be the end of them. Right?
Sure.
So it was created for like a good purpose, for people to remain anonymous online, privacy, stuff like that. And then criminals saw that, hey man, this is actually quite a useful way to remain anonymous online. So the criminals started using it. And actually that's exactly what happens with most technology. It gets created for good and then gets misused by criminals. Similar to like AI, for example. It's exactly what's happening now as well with AI. That's why like you actually saw like phishing emails become a lot more better in terms of like how they're written. Because now before you tell users, hey man, look for spelling mistakes, look for the structure. If it's badly written, it's most likely a phishing email. Even though sometimes people just are bad writing emails, but like that was one of the things you train people to look for. But now emails are like well written, like they got the signatures, well formula. It's great, So like the criminals are using the same technology for them. So the dark web, right? So the dark web, you use Tor, you get onto Tor, but like how do you find these sites, all right, which are malicious? So there's a lot of places where they document like different URLs because you can't really, it's not like www.google.com on the dark web. Okay. It's like some random number .onion. That's how you get to the address. But how do you find these addresses? Right? So there's a lot of search engines now that can be used to find content on the dark web. All right, but you never know, is it actually legit? So you could go to these search engines and search for something like hacking services, and you might get like a hit, and you go to them, but like, how do you know that's legit? I mean, legit, like, how do you know they're going to like steal your money if you go and use their services or something like that? Because I can start a Tor service and sell hacking services, So criminals have become quite well organized in terms of like they create like sites where they vet themselves, sort of like self-organizing. And it's been a while since I've been on the dark web myself. I used to do a lot of research on there for like different companies and law enforcement, actually, to be honest, where I used to help them do certain investigations. Nowadays, there's a lot of companies that offer services around the dark web. So they'll go and look for like leaked credentials, credit card information. They're on forums on the dark web where they're getting information, and they give that as intelligence to like companies that pay for that service, But you can still go onto the dark web through Tor, and you can search for the stuff yourself, I'd always tell people, like, be very careful about, like you said, you've never been on the dark web, right? So don't go use your actual machine to get on the dark web. Just spin up a virtual machine. Download VirtualBox, download Ubuntu, Debian, whatever you want, create a VM, and then go install Tor on there, then visit, and then go search for stuff on there. But I would just be
careful.
Careful, but like just in terms of like what you'll see, to be honest. Because when people are anonymous, like the humanity in people sort of like goes away. Yeah. There's some stuff that I've seen on the dark web where you question like humanity. Besides the illegal hacking services and like I'll give you an example, right, without getting too graphical, but like, there were like torture rooms where you could like go there and there's like a guy tied up on a chair and like you pay X amount and they'll like cut off his finger, for example.
Like that's hostile for real.
Yeah.
Like those horror movies just for real.
Yeah, but for real, like on the site, and you like pay and you see this, then torture that person, right? So it's quite hectic stuff that you'll find on there. And you'll find graphic stuff that you won't be able to unsee, to be honest.
Yeah.
So there'll be my caution. Curiosity is to say, like, kill the cat, And I used to go into these forums to like do investigations for things like child pornography for law enforcement, stuff like that. And to be honest, like, I don't do that. Like, I stopped doing that because you see stuff that really it scars you, man. Like, you don't want to see that stuff again. So
okay, well, good. I'm glad that I haven't. I assume that you have been because of your expertise, and if I was in cybersecurity, I'm sure I would have had to just to understand as part of the
for sure
part of the scene, and then like you say, mostly it'll also be you did for law enforcement. So how does actually law enforcement? I'm sure like that's the other part. Like you have a lot of criminals, and maybe you just have some visitors, but you either have the law enforcement or you have the criminals. The reason I never even ever went is, okay, maybe because it's dark, I don't know, but there is a part that's kind of, the way that you describe it, no, but there is a kind of part which is intriguing in that, but it's really because I thought I'll be the fish. From what I also understand, once you get into those things, you think fooling somebody, but you're actually the guy that's getting robbed.
Yeah, sure. Look, the also set up by law enforcement to actually catch criminals. So they set them up, and then the criminals go there, and then that's how they get stuff. That's why I say, like, if you download something from the dark web, like data, like let's say breach credentials or anything you download from there, you must make sure that you don't, like, when you open it, because remember, everything you do in the Tor browser is anonymized. So Tor browser is like a Firefox. It's like a Firefox browser pops up. But everything you do in the Tor browser is through Tor. But as soon as you download something to your computer, you open it up, that connection goes back out via your real internet connection. So what they do is they put like things in the files, and when you open it up, it calls back with your real IP address where you are and other information that they collect on your machine. So you can go on there, and it's I guess if you want to just look up like credentials or maybe see like what people are selling on there. I mean, there's like hitman services and stuff like that. We can like hire hitman.
When we have a really bad relationship with it.
Funny enough, like when I went on there, like it's been a few years since I've gone on there, like I mentioned, but like there was hacking services, right? And like I'll let you take a guess. What was the most commonly requested? It was on one of these forums that I was on. Like, what was the most commonly requested hacking? Like, hacking to what? What you just said is the most commonly.
The boyfriend's email address.
We actually get that a lot on our contact form on our site. People contact us and they're like, yeah, I think my boyfriend's cheating on me or my girlfriend's cheating on me. Can you hack into their phone? That's what stuff we get in contact form. Actually, don't realize it's illegal. But like, yeah, so that is on there for sure. Like hacking social media accounts, Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that. But one of the ones that was quite is like change my grades was one of the like the offer service. Yeah, like, do you want us to change your grades? We'll hack it to university and we'll change your grades for you. You know, type of service, which is quite funny. That was it was a category on its own as a service.
I would have never guessed it.
Yeah, I mean, and they're quite well organized, to be honest. Like you could actually choose, like they give you like hacker profiles, and like depending on the experience of the hacker, you pay extra. You know, so there's a lot. They're quite well organized. These
university hackers.
Yeah, it was like a package. Like you pay X amount and they'll change your grades for you. You know, we could just study and pass your course. It's way the cheaper option. Or they'll like DOS your university, so you can't do the exam or whatever it is. You know, so.
Oh, sure.
So.
But do you think that's more like just kids not handling the pressure? I guess.
Maybe.
Seems more important than what it is. Seems a little bit.
There's a lot of pressure, I guess, you know, but like, if you can't handle the pressure of studying, then you're not going to be able to handle the pressure of the job either. That's the thing.
I remember one kid at my school didn't want to write the exam, so they called in with a bomb scare.
It's a similar thing. Like, I guess now there's another service, bomb scare, you know, fire alarm. It's a similar thing.
I just need an excuse, man.
Yeah, it's just like that extension, I guess. But yeah, I mean, look, the dark web is, you can go on there, but like, just be very careful what sort of things you visit and what you look at.
My understanding was like if you buy some hacking software or tool,
you can.
Yeah, I imagine there would be like, it's going to have stuff that's actually going to hack. Most of the time, it's going to have what they call them, Trojans or
backdoors for sure.
Backdoors, yeah.
You know, they'll compromise your machine, and then
and you think you're using
then you're part of a botnet.
Yeah. You think you're being smart, but actually you're the fish.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah,
that's why I said virtual machine. Don't connect to the real internet. Test it that way around.
Yeah. No, I knew that piece of information, but still, I haven't tried it. And probably if you don't recommend it, I probably.
Well, I mean, if you
no reason to go there.
If you're very sensitive, then I would. But I mean, you'll see you never know what you're going to get when you click on a link on there. That's the thing.
Yeah. No, yeah, and personally, I don't really want to see all the evil in the world.
Yeah, no, you lose a bit of faith in humanity, to be honest. But yeah, I guess if you look as a hacker, curiosity is one of those things, right? Mm-hmm. You're curious and you want to learn about things and explore things, and you can do that, but you just got to be careful in how you do it. It's like I always say, like, you take risks. We all take risks, in your career, in your studies, but there must be you must take the right risks, if that makes sense. So like, for example, me switching from academia into the private sector, I've been lecturing for around 6 years. I finished my master's, I was doing my PhD, like the career path was clear, get your PhD, become a professor, become HOD, whatever it was, the career path was quite clear. I was even involved in the cybersecurity center at UJ, so there's another career path there as well to manage that and run that eventually. So it was comfortable, right? I was assured that my kids could go study for free at the university, for example. So there's a lot of things that were sure, But I took the risk of actually going into industry and actually, by the way, when I left the university to go apply for jobs, back then, recruiters would tell me that I was flashing my career down the drains. They told me, you went to security, you must have you're going to go manage firewalls. Is that your... you can become like a security architect. You can become like an architect, software development architect, or software architect. And they literally told me, all the recruiters I was reaching out to, they would tell me that I was flashing my career down the drain, because cybersecurity wasn't even a thing back then. It wasn't like a thing. Security wasn't a thing. No one left to do security as a focus area.
How times have changed.
Exactly. And like even when I apply for jobs, people would tell me that I'd been in academia for too long. I was too academic, you know. So I had to like take like a risk and join like companies that would give me an opportunity so I could actually get like experience. And that's what I tell everyone that gets in, like, you actually just need some experience, you know, which is why that's at Telspace, like we run boot camps. It's not like a marketing Telspace. There's other companies that do boot camps and things like that. And we don't enforce that you have to have like a degree to do the boot camp. Because like I was privileged, man. Like I got to do a degree. Not everyone gets the opportunity to do a degree. Not everyone gets it. But there's a lot of people that I've met over the years that have got like the skills and they're self-taught and they just need the opportunity, right, to get that experience on their CV. And once you got that experience, then all of a sudden all these doors that were closed start to open, you know, which is an important thing. You know, so, but degrees are still quite important in the overall corporate sector, you know, so
Sure.
People require that you have a degree. And degrees are very important. Like, I know there's a lot of, again, in the industry, in the community, there's a lot of people that say like, yeah, degrees are worthless and they don't, rather to get a certification, go do certifications. That's going to give you what you need. But degrees teach you how to solve problems and teach you things that certifications don't teach you. They give you that foundational knowledge that you can then apply to learn new things. You know, degrees teach you how to learn, to be honest. You know, and how to, so I think there's a place for both. You know, you can't say one's better than the other because both give you different things. But yeah, I think like, you know, if anyone like listens to this and they're watching us and listening to us, like I think give people opportunities to get that experience, you know, because we see like job roles being advertised where like it's a junior role. It's like you must have 2 years experience. Like, where are you going to get this experience? Like you apply for a junior position or into a position now, you require experience. Where are you going to get the experience? It's like
you struggle with it quite a lot.
For sure.
The thing that comes to mind is from Leslie's behind the scenes. I've heard him ask quite a lot of people how they got started. Many of them said that they took an opportunity like that. To either work for free or to work for a little money to learn something.
Sure. And then just work hard and then demonstrate that you've got the capability and you'll progress. But if you're lazy, you're not going to make it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think... there's an element, the thing we were saying before, that sometimes stressful, you need to deal with it. I imagine actually IT security is more stressful than most other jobs. But I think it's your passion to do it, and there's a level that, you know, you must stay calm in the stress. And generally, I don't really feel good about people stressing too much at work. It's just, after all, it's just work.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, look, to be in cybersecurity or information security, you must have the passion for it. Talking about like hacking, for example, pen testing, you're constantly learning. You know, so if you don't have that passion to like learn and want to learn and like really love your job, you're going to struggle. It's going to be very, very difficult for you to progress and achieve what you need to achieve because you need to really love it. That being said, though, like I always encourage people to like have hobbies outside of like technology. Because like even myself, like I spend a lot of time on technology, a lot of time learning new things. When I'm doing something like on the weekend, it's something that's not technology related. Like I'm building something, I'm using my hands. There was a joke when I was young was like I'm handy-manny because I used to like do a lot of stuff around the house. Like if I need to like roll out like cameras or switches in my house, like I'm in the roof, man, running those cables and putting it in place and building stuff for the kids. That's what I'm doing, you know, something with my hands, which I enjoy doing as well. But like I need to get away from the computer screen. If you're just sitting in front of the computer screen the whole day and the weekend, all the time, like you're going to go crazy, to be honest. And you're going to start hating that thing, which is your computer. Because you're just like frustrated in front of it the whole time. I think that's what's actually happened with the community in South Africa as well, is that we don't see each other in person anymore as much as we used to back in the day. There's that, like we're all on Discord and we're all on these different channels and you're speaking to each other, but it's not the same as in person. And we could have done this via Teams, I'm sure. Yeah. But it wouldn't be the same. You know, so I think we do still need that interaction. You know, we meet up with like-minded people and you talk about stuff, which is important.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm naturally a hermit, and I've also for a long time I've been an advocate for working from home. It's like a dev. I always like fought for my rights to give me the right to work from home. I'll still do the job. And so naturally both of those things are actually quite natural to me, but I still like sitting too much in that home in one space. Your mind gets bogged down. Sitting too much at home. So you need people. You just need to get out, and sometimes also I do think people need to come together to the office to just to collaborate. There's a space for both, and actually you can't.
No, you can't.
You can't take away the actual human interaction.
Yeah, I just see someone like even like we do a lot of work from home at Telspace, but once a month it's compulsory for everyone to get together, and we only make it compulsory once a month. Which works. And there's some people that still meet up. They're working on projects together. They meet up together. Because it's easier to sit across each other as opposed to like messaging each other on Slack or wherever it is that you're communicating. So yeah, definitely but I think doing something outside of your day-to-day job is important, like a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
I also play drums.
Okay.
Although since I had 2 kids, my drums got relocated to another area that I can't necessarily play them easily anymore.
Yeah, no, the kids are pum.
Yes. But I used to play drums as well, and I was teaching myself drums, and that's what I used to do. I got a lot of gigs, supporting the local music scene. So you need to do something that's outside of tech.
Yeah, sure.
Otherwise, you do become very negative about,
Yeah.
But it's about phases in your life. Like I think when you have kids, then it becomes more about, to me, it's more about spending time with the family. Doing stuff with the family, not about playing my drums. So I'd rather spend time playing with the kids. Because I always get told by parents that have all the kids that, eventually they don't want to hang out with you anymore. They just want to hang out with their friends. So you got to enjoy the time that you have.
Yeah, sure. I find that the most enjoyable thing. Although it is the most difficult one as well. Sometimes when you're driving up the wall.
Depends what age they're in.
Yeah. Gaming? No.
Not really, not much. I used to play a lot of... I joke with my friends that used to game with me a lot because they always keep telling me to come back and play games with them. I said, sorry man, I'm too busy playing the game of life at the moment. Don't have time to play these. I used to play a lot of online games back in the day, especially first-person shooters like Quake 3. Never much Dota. My friends used to play a lot into Dota. I don't play that much, but gaming, not so much anymore. Like it's about priorities in your life, and you shift those priorities.
Yeah. Yeah, I think once we get to the point of being a family man person, I think you do kind of realize that is the most important thing.
Yeah, for sure. Your spare time is used for other areas. You focus on other areas. But everyone's different, right? So I think some people, they need that outlet. They need that game, be it like FIFA or whatever it is. I used to play a lot of FIFA as well. They need that, even if it's like an hour a day or half an hour, they need that, which is good. Everyone's different how they get that break.
Yeah. Well, I love gaming. I just don't have time for it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Time. I used to play a lot of soccer as well back in the day. I used to play 7-a-side soccer and stuff like that with friends. But I think as things change, we stop playing together and then it sort of fell apart. So if you just start a game, start a team together and do that. In my career earlier on, I used to do that. I used to play a lot of 7-a-side soccer with friends. Get you out the house.
Yeah.
Get you with your friends, you play. And it's just good.
Yeah. Well, you're meaning we actually get out of the house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not online.
Yeah.
It means actually 7-a-side, playing soccer.
Yeah, I agree with it.
Yeah. Also good for your health, it keeps you fit. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, and at that point, your health has really improved over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You've been cycling, diet.
Yeah, so I mean, I was always healthy in terms of like my health. There was no like underlying issues. But yeah, I guess if you chase it off the kids and you run around and you feel like yourself out of breath, especially if you used to be a lot fitter back in the day, you realize that you might have a bit of a issue. We do those health checks, and when they come do those policies for you, like your life insurance, and they come and do like the health checks, and you realize that you're actually overweight, and you need to do something about it. Yeah, so I did over the years. I think I changed, and actually I just hacked even your own like personal health. It's like you hack it as well because everyone's different. Everyone's body's different. So you have to figure out what formula works for you. There's no There's no fad diet. There's no quick diet that's going to help you get to where you need to be. And I think over the last year and a half or so, I probably lost around 50 kilograms.
Right.
With like just...
It's amazing, like the visual transformation in the last couple of years. It's really amazing.
I actually realized that day, unfortunately, I had to go to a funeral within the family, and like all my suits that I had were like way too big for me, man. I was like swimming in it. I was like, no, I need to go buy like, because I hardly wear a suit. Like you'll catch me wearing a suit for like really important board meetings for clients and funerals and weddings, really. Yeah, so, and some board meetings for clients actually, because I've known them for many, many years. Like I can actually rock up in a hoodie and a t-shirt and they'll be fine with it. But yeah, so I realized I lost even my pant size was probably down by like 4 or 5 sizes down. But even that was like, like you mentioned, like just exercise and changing how you eat. Not some fad diet, but just what you eat and how you eat and portions, man. You actually don't need to eat like these big. Look up Portuguese. Portuguese. Like your mom was just. They show you their love by like feeding you. They're like, he's like eat. Yeah. So that's. And it gives you a lot more energy. You actually don't realize how much energy you'll get just by changing that part of your. So like your health itself, your physical health, does have a relation to your mental health and vice versa. Both affect each other.
Yeah.
But a lot of the weight I put on was over the COVID time, to be honest. That's I had other priorities, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Health, exercise versus diet. Which one would you put as more important?
Let's do both.
Equal.
I think it's important. They all have different benefits. Yeah, but there's no fat diet, man. Like low carb, keto. What's the other one? Bantine. There's a lot of like these different ones. Like just do this and you'll lose all the weight. But it's also about consistency. You got to stick through it. You can't just.
It's that hard work and perseverance, which you also.
Every part of your life, hard work and perseverance. Don't give up. Just keep pushing. Because this is a gradual thing. It took over 1.5 years, 2 years to like get to the weight and then maintain it.
And is your goal to your driving force is actually your kids?
Yeah.
Keeping up with them.
Yeah, I mean my dad had like all the cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes. He had all the
bad stuff.
The bad stuff, He always used to say like he wants to enjoy his life and live. That was his driving motto. So, but actually at the end of the day, he ended up passing away not from any of those. Funny enough, but those are all things that I need to consider. And once you get those things, you can't reverse it or cure it. You've got it. So it's the kids and thinking about the future for sure. Also just feeling healthier is also a good thing. More energy, things like that.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely much more efficient for your body to run.
Well, my dad always used to say like everything is good for you in moderation. Even smoking, he used to smoke. I still smoke. I smoke cigars mainly. And in moderation, everything's fine. I even also drink as well. In moderation, it's fine. Just don't overdo it. Everything is good if you do it in moderation.
Yeah. Somebody was showing me today, what is she? Fit wine mom.
Fit my mom.
Fit wine mom.
Fit wine mom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. The mom is on the wine.
It's okay.
It's a thing.
That's my strategy as well. Everything a little bit. But also I also have like health ambitions now in my 40s. But it's also no, it's not downhill.
From 40, I mean, that's what people tell me. Quite close now. So it's not downhill from 40.
No,
no, okay.
I don't know. I enjoy life more as it goes along. It's actually coming from 40. I actually want to make it. For me personally, one thing that I was never good at was sports. So now I've actually started it. I'm going to be good.
Oh, cool.
So I'm training tennis, and my actual goal is like up to 50. And sometimes I watch like these 60, 70-year-olds doing a body transformation in like 10 years. And I'm kind of also approaching it like that.
Oh,
to
cool.
kind of just to keep going.
But
my primary motivation is actually to keep up on my kids. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Not be able to run after them, or I don't know.
Yeah, man, it's you learn a lot from your kids, actually. And something I learned is that as people, we're never happy with what we have. It's actually what I've come to. Like, kids are so happy with, like, the simplest things. Like, dad arrives home, they'll run towards you, they're so happy. Give them, like, a toy, they're so happy. You give them, like, anything, they're just super happy with what they get and what they have, you know? Whereas as adults, like, we seem to not be happy with what we have. Like, we always want more, or want this and that and the latest of that and the, you know? Whereas the guy that's, like, below you, he's looking at, like, what you have, and he's like, oh, man, I wish I had what Manny had. Yeah. You know, like, it's so great. Like, we just need to be happy with what we have. We need to aim and have goals for things, greater things, right? Definitely. But you need to actually just appreciate what you have in your life. Because it might not be there when you look, and, you know, if you don't appreciate it, it might be gone. And then you appreciate it, but it's gone. Like your health, for example.
That's
you know,
I appreciate it when it's gone, but
when you miss it, when it's gone.
Yeah, I think they say gratitude is the easiest way to be happy, is be grateful.
For sure. And if sometimes people are unhappy for like other reasons, you know, and they might think that money or something else superficial or full or whatever they're unhappy with, but that's not actually what's causing that happiness. I guess, like, it's like I could have these conversations as well with different people that I mentor and help, you know, and sometimes they're just like unhappy because they're comparing themselves with the wrong people, or they've got the wrong people that are in their lives. Like, you can't really do great things if you've got negative people around you. It's who you surround yourself with that actually influence. There's actually a lot of your life is influenced by the company you keep and who you're around. You know, so if you have a lot of negative people around you, you're going to be negative.
Mm.
Yeah, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, my brother and I, in our family, like, I think half the family's still here in South Africa because we're so positive about South Africa. And they always joke about it. They're like, yo, if Manny and Tony leave South Africa, like, man, like, you must know, like, it's game over because they're leaving, you know. Because we're always so, like, positive about it. Like, you get any family gathering or braai, whatever it is you get together, someone's always going to be negative about something in South Africa. You know, the politics, the load sharing, whatever it is, there's always going to be unhappiness about it. But there's always, like, a lot of positives as well. People don't really touch on, you know, which is, you know, perspective.
Yeah. One day it's going to be the greatest place.
Yeah, I believe so. So we've got a lot of...
What's your favorite part
about South Africa?
Yeah.
It's our resilience, man. You know what I like about South Africa is how we joke about ourselves. You know, like, there's so much stuff going wrong, but, like, we like make a joke about it and we laugh about it together, you know? And, like, we come together, like, in certain communities to, like, get things done. You know, it doesn't matter. Like, I think in South Africa, it's about how, like, we still manage to, like, go on, even though things are falling apart around us. That's what I like. Coming together as, like, one unity to get stuff done.
Yeah, sometimes when the World Cup and when those things happen, then we come together. Lots of times we, right? Well, for me, it's like the diversity of it all, and kind of even just in the country, it's just so different. It's like different places. When Durban, Cape Town, in the north,
for sure,
yeah, it's different ecosystems. Actually, it's just
different backgrounds, different cultures, all coming together.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Makes it very difficult, but we're still holding it.
We still got this.
Yeah. Music, do you think... I played guitar. In my experience, it's a very common thing with developers or IT people to...
learn instruments.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. My brother plays guitar.
Is he also in IT?
He's in engineering.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of guys I knew just as a hobby. Why do you think that is?
I don't know, I guess it's like, I'm not sure. It's being able to learn something creative that's not technical. Maybe that's the... Although it is technical, but not the technical, like IT engineering technical, I mean.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I'm not sure. I guess that's a good question. Sounds like a psychology question.
Yeah. My guess is the creativity aspect. I found even in maths or IT definitely a very creative process.
Definitely.
And, how you apply it.
It's true.
So I'm going to give you a word.
Uh-huh.
And in 3 seconds, you must tell me what it means to you.
Like what? Like in meaning itself?
Yeah.
Or just the first word that comes to mind?
The thing that comes to mind.
Oh, okay.
It's okay, sock. When I think of a sock,
I was going to say sock puppets.
I think of this. What do you think of? Is it
No, if you say the word sock, I'll say sock puppets.
sock puppets?
Yeah.
Not Security Operations Center.
No. But also, you know why? Do you know why though? But do you know why though? Because are you familiar with the concept of sock puppets? Like, what is a sock puppet?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so sock puppets are like creating like an alias online, like a fake profile or like a fake person or persona online. Like a LinkedIn, like say for example, like I'm on target like an organization or someone like that, and I create this whole fake profile online, a LinkedIn profile with educational background, name, surname, fake ID number, all that type of stuff. You create like this fake persona, and it's known as a sock puppet, which is used a lot of intelligence to like gather intel and infiltrate companies and stuff like that. It's more on the offensive side. So when you say sock, I think sock puppet. Not sock like the guys in. If you ask someone that's in the blue team, they'll probably say that's sock.
Okay.
Oh, like the Nathan say a sock.
I didn't ask. I wanted to.
Oh, yeah, you would have said sock, man. That's his area.
Okay, pen test. Because when I think of a pen test, I go like this.
Yes, testing pens. We actually have a banner that we used to at shows. We have like, is this your vendor's idea of a pen test? It's like a guy with a pen writing. So a pen test to me is like testing an application, so like trying to hack into, well, not just application, anything, doing a penetration test, try to see where the vulnerabilities are and how to exploit them and gain access. That's a penetration test.
And white hat. This is what I think of.
Yeah, so I think about...
But purple hat is what I wanted to know. What's
well,
white hat, black hat? What's purple hat?
Well, there's not really a purple hat thing. There's like the white hat. So there's this whole concept of like black hat and white hat. All right. So the black hat's like the malicious criminal, and the white hat is like the ethical, person. And like the purple hats, I'm really familiar. Like I'm familiar with like the purple team, which is where the two work together. Like the blue team and the red team work together, and they form a purple team, which is where they work together to test the environment, the SOC, the SIEM, all that type of stuff. So I haven't heard purple team. I've heard of purple hats. There's so many different colors.
Teaming.
Yeah, purple teaming.
So that means.
So it's where the blue team and the red team work together. So typically the way it works is like...
okay, that makes sense. That makes...
Yeah. When a company hires us with the red team, and it's our jobs to like gain access to the company, through applications, infrastructure, people. It's not just about technical, it's also about targeting people as well. And so with the red team, the blue team's job, and it comes from the military days, the blue team's job is to keep us out. So to identify us coming in, stop us, and keep us out of the environment from achieving the objective, And so over the years, what we found is that, purple teaming is where you work together with the blue team. So instead of me like trying to hack into your organization and find ways in and give you a report at the end of the engagement, usually a big report, 300 pages of what we did the last 3-4 months or 6 months. Instead we work together, right? So we'll try to like do a certain attack and we'll be like, did you pick that up? What did you see come in? And then you fine tune your controls and work together, which is it's a good thing because like you learn from each other. So there's a lot of cross-skilling that happens. But also you get a lot of value out of it as the blue team because you fine-tune your controls as we go along. But it all depends on like what you want to achieve from your testing. If you're going to go for purple team or straight on red team. That's essentially where the word comes from.
Yeah. Interesting to me is the color associations.
Yeah.
What's it, red and black?
Well, red and blue, and then there's the...
white and blue, and then red and black.
It gets a bit more complicated because there's also like black box testing, white box testing, and grey box testing. So there's the other one as well. So like the black box test is when a company hires us and they say, hack into us.
Yeah. We're not going to give you any information.
They'll give us, here's our website domain. hack into us and give us no information, right? There's not, I mean, a lot of companies think that that's the most realistic way to test, but it's not really, because a real world attack has unlimited time to try and figure stuff out, right? So we always tell clients, instead of doing the black box approach, rather give us some information that can be found with enough time. Like as an attacker, I can figure out what you're using, how you're using it. I can enumerate usernames. I can try compromise credentials to get access to your application. Because a black box pen test on an application, for example, they give you no credentials. So they're like, here's the website, try hack into the website. Okay. And you have, it's always budget dependent, but you have 5 days, let's say, for example, to hack the application. Okay. Now I sit there and we try to do what we can do in those 5 days, but a real criminal has a lot more time than just the 5 days. So they could create like word lists, and they could try in the guest directories, they could try brute force logins, and they'll eventually get some sort of credentials with enough time to the application. And then the white box part is where they give you everything. So source code, architecture, how it's built, everything about that application. So somewhere in the middle is gray box. All right, where they actually give you some information, not a source code, but they give you some information about how it's built, what technologies, which you can figure out anyway. And then they give you credentials as well, so you can log in and test, so. Because if you've got to test an application, you need to test it from not just unauthenticated, you test it from authenticated as well. Because there's a lot of things around session management and access to information or authorization controls you can't test without credentials. So always recommend doing the middle, because attackers have unlimited time and we don't, because you don't have unlimited budget as a client. So there needs to be a balance.
And I would think most times it's somebody that has some knowledge of the organization, at least. Often it's internal.
Yeah, but even if it's not, if they want to get in, they're going to spend time to figure out, valid usernames, and they're going to get credentials somehow through phishing or credential stuff, and they're going to get some credentials to be able to get in. So, of course, there's some clients that want to do, or some companies. We always push against doing the supper tests, where they're just doing it for the checkbox. So they've. One of their clients has asked them for a pen test report, and they just need to get a pen test report for a reputable vendor. So they approach us and the other competitors, and they want to do this checkbox test. And they don't really care how we do it. They just want a report that says we did it, which doesn't add any value. And like I think I mentioned at the beginning, if we're not adding value, we actually don't want to do the pen test, to be honest. And so we do turn down work once in a while. Where I'll give you I think when we spoke about silly examples, right? There was a client that, a potential client that said they wanted to do a pen test, and they said we want the IP address to be pen tested. And so we're like, but what about the application? They're like, no, the application's out of scope. So you can test the IP, you can scan it whatever you like, but you can't test the application. But the whole attack surface is the application. So other ports are all closed. There's only port ACL443 open, but you can't test that. But we just want the pen test report for the IP address. So no. This wants to be they tested this IP address and they found nothing, but the application was out of scope.
What was the first hack that you kind of got the love for it?
Probably my own computer, hey? So my dad actually bought a second-hand old Packard Bell computer, a really old one. He brought it home. He had no idea how to turn it on, and we had no idea how to turn it on. So my brother and I just sat there plugging in cables, plugging in keyboards. I still remember us when the first time we typed the letter onto it was actually the BIOS screen actually. And we saw the letters come up, oh, look at that, amazing, we can type on the computer. We had no idea what we were doing. So we actually had to sit there and figure out how to boot this computer. And we had no ideas. It was back in the days of floppy disks and stiffy disks and stuff. And we had no idea how to turn this thing on. No idea how to boot up the OS, nothing like that. And we just sat there, figured it out, go through the menus, figure out how to get it to boot. Eventually we got it to boot, So that was my first oh man, this is really cool. And then we figured out how to run applications, how to troubleshoot stuff, and potentially do some other stuff I won't mention on the computer. But we figured out how to do a lot of really cool stuff. And that's how I came. And that computer lasted us for many, many years. And we figured out how to get to really work on its lost legs, stuff like that. It was really cool. Actually, I wanted to study to be like a technician, like, hardware technician was actually what I wanted to do. And when there's like, it was RAL back then, go there and like apply for a degree. He wanted me to do business management. I was like, geez, man, like I can't. So I just went to like this open day and like I spoke to the guy. He's like, yeah, no, you will learn to do technical stuff here as well. And I was like, oh, cool, like circuit boards, stuff like that. He's like, yeah, you'll do that. There was like one course in my whole degree, Electrical Techniques 1B in my first year. That's the only time I did the electrical stuff. And I ended up doing software development, and I was like, oh, this is cool as well. You can make a computer do stuff that it shouldn't do. So I learned. But yeah, before that, that's why I got the love, was like just figuring out how to get a computer to boot up and work. Because my parents didn't know how to do it. But my dad bought this thing. He's like, yeah, I just heard that computers were like the thing you need to know. He's like, here's a computer, guys. Go figure out how to use it. And we're like, yeah, so we figured it out, over time, just through speaking to friends as well. And that's how we figured it out.
Well, and a sense of achievement.
For sure. And I guess that first shell, when you get that first like shell on a server or application, that feeling, like.
And so can you remember that one?
Yeah, it was a web app, like a really crappy web app that resulted in like command execution. And I got the shell. It's really like amazing stuff. Yeah, basically, like doing a little dance. Dancing around, people are like wondering what's wrong with you. Like, why are you dancing around?
Yeah.
So, it's a similar feeling you get as a developer, to be honest. Like, I remember sitting there debugging code and you try and get it to work, and you get it to work, and it's that same feeling. It's the exact same feeling. That achievement that you've got something to work, and you just like dancing around. So yeah, it's really great.
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of hackers still keep pen testing and doing red teaming, because it's that feeling of getting in, Although it sort of shifts me now, that's more about like adding that value and seeing that light turn on when you explain to people like where the risks are and what's there to fix. It's really, I guess it's just shifted over the years.
Are there any really silly exploits that you found from clients in the past? Obviously, don't divulge names and stuff, but there's like some of the silliest vulnerabilities or compromises that.
Well, I mean, there's already a compromise, but there was a client that. So we're doing an external pen test, and we managed to compromise it from the outside, and we gained internal access, and we compromised the domain from the outside. And then we presented the report, and the CISO at this company, right, not just the CISO, said that we didn't actually hack them, we hacked their honeypot. So I'm like, so your whole network is a honeypot, because we had domain controllers, we had financial systems. You tell me the whole thing.
This guy was good at corporate speak.
Yeah, the whole thing is honeypot, end to end. That's an amazing honeypot. Like, you've replicated your whole production environment, and it's a honeypot, He actually swore at me that CISO was quite upset, because I was pushing back. And actually, we lost that client because I think he went back in there and he explained he basically just said that I was the one that was talking nonsense and he was correct, So that was a bit silly.
Sure. I guess he was worried about his job.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he called me a few times and just swore at me for, I didn't swear back at him, but I just said, look, man, like, you can try and BS everyone there, but it's like, it's not going to work with us. Because you want us to change the report. To say what he said, and I'm not going to change the report because we don't believe it's a honeypot. Really, that's what it is. And I've had similar debates, I guess, arguments over the years. I think I've compared it to sort of like a dad that has like kids. When someone builds and monitors an environment, and you go in there and tell them like, this is wrong, it's almost like you're calling their kids ugly, and they get offended, they get defensive, and they want to defend what they've done. But so that's also like a company cultural thing. Like you should be open to like criticism, Well, I must be honest, like I think when I was a lot younger and I used to tell people that did stuff wrong, they used to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about because they've got 30 years experience. They're like, what do I know? Yeah. And I think that's something that even the new generation, the young generation deal with now as well, is that they're quite a lot more tech savvy and maybe a lot more up to date with technology than like the older people that are interviewing them, And I think as someone that's like a lot older, and you should be open to listening to the younger people because they might know things that you don't know, and you need to understand that you don't know everything. That's actually the thing, So, but yeah, I think that was a bit of a silly one. There was another one where we compromised a web application which has actually been compromised by a criminal already. And they actually locked us out, and they replaced the front page with like a middle finger scrolling up and down in a GIF. So like, we had to call the client and be like, hi, yeah, look, someone else is on the server because we got in there. They thought we were another threat actor, like a criminal. So they kicked us out and they replaced that page with like a middle finger to tell us that get off the server, like, it's our server, which is quite funny. So, yeah, this is some of the funny stories, I guess, that we came across over the years. I'm just trying to think if there was anything. Yeah, I guess silly mistakes that admins make over the years. You know, that's like enabling test VPN accounts on a production server and forgetting to disable it. And you go to log into the VPN and you select the drop down, and there's like one that says test. And you're like, test. And you type test, and you get into the VPN.
Yeah, okay, silly passwords and stuff.
Yeah, silly. Look, passwords are still like a big problem for most companies. You know, something that hasn't been solved, really. It's still one of the top, I guess, 5 ways that we get to companies is through weak passwords.
Yeah, good image.
And even though they secured the perimeter with like, you know, multi-factor and all sorts of things, once you're on the internal network, there's, you know, a lot of weak passwords still there that can be used to move laterally and compromise stuff. So yeah, we always say to clients, like, you should always, because we spend a lot of time speaking to clients before they test, we spend a lot of time understanding like why are they doing this test? And like always try to get in on the path of like, what's the worst case scenario? Just think about it. Like, what's the worst case? Like, what if Ivan gets compromised at ITWeb and they have your credentials? What can they do with those credentials? What can they do with you, as you on the network, on your systems? What's possible? That's really it's important to like look at it from an assumed breach perspective. What's possible when you've been compromised? What can an attacker do on your internal network or systems or applications once they've compromised you? The worst case, you must always think worst case.
Yeah. And I can't really understand. I can understand from a corporate perspective that people just want to, okay, I passed it. But I would think that if you care about security, you actually want to make sure that you're doing it right and you're not missing something. And then it's really wise to actually
unfortunately,
hire experts and for them to actually point it out before, you know,
it's true.
Somebody malicious is actually finds it.
But also, I think sometimes it's also like who you're getting advice from. Like I always like to say, like sometimes it's better to get no advice than bad advice when it comes to security. It's actually like why when we like bid for work and we do work for clients and they decide to not go with us, we're also like, why? You know, like, is it a price thing? Sometimes it is a pricing thing. So they're going with like and unfortunately, it's almost like if you compare it to like solar, when solar started to get off, right? Everyone and their dad had a bakkie was doing solar installations in South Africa. Like everyone's like a solar expert all of a sudden. And I think with pen testing, similar thing happened a few years ago where like people saw you can make money from pen testing. Now everyone offers pen testing, you know, as a service. And we always say like, you know, it's fine, you didn't go with us, but rather go and get like the details of like our main competitors. We're like, these guys are doing proper pen testing. You know, if you're not going to go with us, rather go with one of them, that they're going to do a good job. Because, you know, you might be able to get the checkbox, but you end up getting compromised later. And unfortunately, it's happened in the past where clients have come back to us and said, look, we went with XYZ. We've never heard of that company. And like we've been in the industry for many, many years. So if you tell me this company's doing pen testing, I've never heard of them, you must know that I don't know where they came from, but they just appeared. And they want us to like come in and like fix, first of all, like the mess with the compromise. And they want us to do the test. So now they spend the budget twice. Which is not great. Sometimes they don't come back though, because maybe they're embarrassed. But
yeah,
it's.
My advice would be get somebody good.
That's true. I mean, if you're going to hire like a pen testing company, look at the reputation of the company, but also the analyst that's doing the pen test. Like you were in your rights to ask for the CV of the analyst. Like, did this guy just start working for you and he's been there for 6 months? Like, you really want this person to do the pen test? You know, maybe they're very talented, but they don't have the experience. You know, so
what does it take to be an analyst at Telspace?
A lot of hard work. So there's a career path right involved there. We have to get a certain number of certification, a certain number of hours and days shadowing other analysts before we put you on anything that's like client. We actually have some very nice clients where they actually will allow us to unleash our junior analysts on their networks. Yeah. We've got a good relationship. And we're like, look, we want to see, what they can do. If they'll give you a report, we're not going to charge you for it. If you're happy with that, they're like, yeah, sure. I mean, very brave. So but it's after a while, so like to be able to get to that point, you would have had to like shadow a few analysts for like a few time. We don't put anyone by themselves unless they've been working for at least 3 years. It depends on the type of engagement. Like some clients require like a retest, requires a certain level. Depends on what you're retesting. A simple retests, someone can do. So you just like prove yourself based on like a capability, and we measure you like throughout the time. We give you like different tests throughout that time. Research, so like internal research deliverables that you have to submit, and then certifications. You have to study and get a certification, which is doable. It's a lot of hard work. I always tell like our juniors in our team, like, if the longer you take, you actually take away opportunity for someone else that could take this opportunity. Because I want you to develop and progress so we can promote you to the next phase. So we can bring in new juniors. Because I never want to have a case where there's more juniors than senior analysts to mentor them. Otherwise, who's going to mentor them? They're just sitting there by themselves, which doesn't help. So there's a balancing. But it takes a lot of hard work, man. You could say I'm a bit...
well, it's not easy to become an engineer.
No.
You need to do some training.
You have to, and it's like really a lot of, it takes a lot of hard work and dedication. And we've had junior analysts that have dropped out. They said like it's too much for them. And unfortunately, I said to them, like, if this is too much, then being an analyst is going to be too much for you as well. It's just the hard truth. That's just how it is. I think a lot of people know me, like, I just tell you how it is, unfortunately. I used to get in a lot of trouble when I was a lecturer for these type of things. Once I told a student, like, if you carry on the way you're going to fail. And then got reported. Because the guy wasn't like attending classes, he wasn't submitting assignments, and I just said the truth, And that's just how it has to be. So I need to tell someone that at the rate you're going, you're not going to progress. You're not going to get where you need to be. There's so much like I can do and Telspace can do and other people can do to help you. You need to put in the hard work to get to where you need to be. And there's no shortcuts. Like, you can't get there.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you don't carry yourself, I don't know. You can't expect other people to carry you. And
also, like, to be an analyst at Telspace, you must understand what you're doing. Because anyone can run tools. Anyone. Like, there's a junior that they sent me his research deliverable, and he, like, set up a Flipper Zero and did some stuff with the Flipper Zero. I'm like, yeah, but so what, man? Anyone can use the Flipper Zero. I can go watch a YouTube video and learn how to use it. It's like, what, do you actually know what it's doing in the background? That's actually what I need to know. That's what you need to know.
When I was in the corporates and there was this security analyst who wanted to hack a pen tester to the mobile application. I mean, he just sat down on the command line and he started auto-completing these things, and they were like kind of scrolling down. And it's still busy going, and I was just like, this is like next level.
Look, it depends on the engagement. Like, there's actually a meme that goes around once in a while about how people see pen testers and hackers, and you like see the screens with like the text scrolling, and how hackers actually are. You see like a screenshot of like Google, That's right. It's a lot of research. Like, you find stuff in your pen test and you go and research it to see like what it is, how it works, so you can figure out how to break into it. So there's a lot of like research involved in. So look, sometimes it's easy. Like, you find the vulnerability and you find the exploit and you configure the exploit and you run the exploit. But even then, you need to understand what the exploit is doing. Because it might cause problems when you run that exploit. It actually reminds me of a case where we actually had a script that we had written to do the exploit on a server. And the script would disable the firewall on the server, run the script, and then re-enable the firewall. And this worked, a lot of the time worked just fine, except one client on their production server, they have the firewall off. So our script ran, turned the firewall off, it was off already, and then turned it on. When it turned it on, it actually broke like a lot of stuff, because the firewall was just off, because they turned it off to like get stuff to work. So they had no firewall on that. So now we have a check for, is the firewall on before we turn it off. So, or before we turn it back on. So yeah, that's it's funny little things like that. But you need to understand even when you run an exploit as an analyst, you must understand what the exploit does. Or you could get shelled, actually.
But I imagine it's also a lot of command line.
It is. Well, it's shifting a bit. There's a lot of tools now that just make everything a lot GUI-based and user-friendly, which is good. Like, I don't think you need to sit in the command line to be a hardcore analyst. It's like, one day I was interviewing someone, like, I use Nano to edit my text files. I know it's like frowned upon, I should be using Vim. I'm like, no, but why do you use Vim? Like, you can use Nano, it does the same job. Why must I tell you, like, oh, no, you're not hardcore because you don't use Vim? I mean, so what? Use Nano. Like,
Sure.
It gets the job done. The job is the same.
Yeah, there's some elitism there. But, all right, Manny, thank you very much for the time.
Pleasure. Thank you.
And for being here. I don't know, any shout-outs from your side or pitch?
No pitch. I think I always say, like, if anyone wants to get to the industry or they want to, get some advice, they're always welcome to reach out to me. Like, if I don't know the answer, I'll point you in the right direction to someone that would be able to help you. So if you need some help, you want to get some guidance, you're stuck, reach out. I'm always happy to help.
How much time do you have?
Look, if I can't help you, I'll get someone else to help you. That's the thing. I think, it's important for us as a community to help each other, to build each other up, not break each other down. That's the thing. So, like, I mean, there's a lot of communities out there. You just need to be pointed in the right direction.
Yeah. Hashtag stronger together.
That's it. Yeah. Are you in corporate? That's a good catch line. Yeah, it's good. For sure.
Yeah, no, it was lovely chatting. And
you too. Thank you.
Right. Thanks for being. And thank you for watching. If you like content like this, enjoy it and want more of it, please share, like, and subscribe to hack the algorithms for the geeks.
This episode of ITWeb TV is brought to you by ITWeb Security Summit, the must-attend gathering for IT, security, and business decision makers. For more information, visit itweb.coza.